My girlfriend was assaulted and became pregnant. I broke up with her because she wanted to keep the baby. This sounds really horrible, but please hear me out. I am a 30-year-old man in a really difficult situation. 2 months ago, my girlfriend was attacked. It happened in a park. She did not want to report it and had a complete breakdown. She did not want to speak to the police or go to the hospital. I could not force her, so I just stayed by her side. She was in a very bad state, and I stayed by her, listening to her and helping her. We went to therapy, and she knows I am there to support her. She has a history of depression, and I was really worried. Obviously, she was in a very bad state, barely eating or sleeping, and often waking up in the middle of the night crying or screaming. I stayed by her side, listening to her and helping her with whatever she needed. Sometimes she would just stare at the walls for hours, lost in her thoughts. We went to therapy together, trying to find a way to navigate through this disaster. I wanted her to know that I am here for her, no matter what. Seeing her like this made me really worried. I try to be strong for her, but there are moments when I feel completely powerless. Last week, we found out that she was pregnant. The moment we saw the test results, it was like the world stopped. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and helplessness all at once. I had been abroad for 2 months before the attack for work and had come back early to take care of her, so the baby definitely was not mine. She is completely sure it is the attackers. We hoped it was just a false alarm, but the tests do not lie. The reality hit her hard, and she broke down again. The fact that this pregnancy is a constant reminder of that horrible night is tearing her apart. She feels trapped, and I do not know how to help her escape this nightmare. So, we had a discussion. It was one of the hardest conversations we have ever had. She is a devout Catholic, and her faith means everything to her. Initially, we decided on an abortion. It seemed like the only way for her to start healing and move forward. But after talking to her mother, everything changed. Her mother told her that, under no circumstances, she should have an abortion, saying it would be a grave sin. After that conversation, she decided to keep the baby, saying it was not the baby's fault. She believes that every life is sacred, no matter the circumstances. I could see the conflict in her eyes, torn between her faith and the trauma she has been through. It was like watching her heart break all over again. I flat out told her that I would not help raise the baby of a man who attacked her. The words felt harsh, but I needed her to understand my position. She cried and begged me not to leave her. Her tears were heartbreaking, and I hated seeing her in so much pain, but I could not back down. I told her that she was making the decision: either she keeps the baby and I leave, or she aborts the baby and I stay. I would not budge on this. I could not see myself raising a child who would be a constant reminder of the worst moment of her life. It felt like an impossible situation, but I needed her to understand that I could not compromise on this. The decision was hers, but I had to be honest about what I could and could not handle. She did not want either of those things to happen, so I told her we were done. I feel like a terrible person. Was I wrong? Update 1. I will post the update first, as there have been some changes since I last posted, and then I will respond to some general points raised in the last discussion and the many private messages I received. Yesterday, I received a call from my girlfriend. She was crying and begged me to listen to her. I told her that I still care about her and would obviously listen to what she had to say. She told me that a few days after I told her it was over between us, she called her mother to talk about it. She needed someone to confide in and thought her mother would understand. Apparently, what had happened before was that she had practically decided to have an abortion. She felt it was the best way to start healing and move forward, but after talking to her mother, everything changed. Her mother told her that, under no circumstances, she should have an abortion, saying it would be a grave sin and that she would regret it for the rest of her life. She even said that I was manipulating her into having the abortion, making me the villain in all of this. Her mother went on to say that if she went through with the abortion, she would no longer consider my girlfriend her daughter. Those words hurt her deeply. She felt trapped, torn between her mother's harsh judgment and her own trauma. The weight of her mother's disapproval was too much for her to bear, leaving her feeling isolated and overwhelmed. After I left her, my girlfriend called her mother to talk about what had happened. She needed to make sense of everything and hoped her mother would offer some comfort. My girlfriend said she desperately wanted to abort the baby, explaining how the pregnancy was a constant reminder of the assault. But her mother was relentless. She again said that if she went through with the abortion, this would be the last time they ever spoke. She made it clear that this decision would sever their relationship forever. My girlfriend broke down on the phone, sobbing uncontrollably, feeling more alone than ever. Her mother kept pressing her, asking repeatedly what she would do. It was as if she was being forced to choose between her own sanity and her family. The conversation ended when my girlfriend, choking on her tears, said she did not know what to do. The weight of that ultimatum left her completely devastated and lost. Then she started texting. Her hands were trembling as she typed, the weight of the decision pressing down on her. Finally, she sent her mom a text saying she was going to have the abortion. She hoped that maybe, just maybe, her mom would understand and offer some kind of support or at least a compassionate response. Instead, the reply was swift and brutal. She was immediately blocked, cut off without another word. The person she had always turned to in times of need had completely abandoned her. My girlfriend then called me and told me everything. She will be having an abortion in 3 weeks. I discussed this with her, and we both completely agreed that I had not manipulated her in any way. We talked about everything that had happened, from the assault to the pressures from her mother. She appreciated that I stood my ground, recognizing that my firm stance had helped her see things more clearly. She admitted that if I had not been firm about my boundaries, she might have ended up having a baby who would remind her of the worst time of her life. Those were her words, not mine. She expressed relief that I had been there to support her through this agonizing decision, acknowledging that it was the right choice for both of us despite how difficult it had been. She further went on to say that I am the best thing that has ever happened to her and that she knew that even if she no longer had a mom, if she had me, she could get through this. I broke down at that point. I love her so much, seeing her in so much pain has been unbearable. In truth, I probably would have gone back to her and raised the baby with her, even though I knew I would resent it. Deep down, I could not stand the thought of losing her. I made the original post to get some support, rather than anything else, to see if I had made the right decision. I needed to hear from others to find some validation and reassurance that I was not a monster for making such an ultimatum. The support and perspectives from others helped me realize that standing my ground was necessary for both of us. It was a way to protect our future and help her move forward from the trauma. I am so relieved things have turned out the way they have. Also, shame on any mother who puts religion above their own child. Truly delusional. Now, to respond to some of your points from the last discussion. No, my girlfriend did not cheat on me. I am almost certain about this, not only because she has the conscience of a fragile angel, but also because we both know each other's schedules well and often talk to friends who can corroborate the timings. Moreover, her roommate took photos of my girlfriend after she came home assaulted. It was not rough sex, as some of you suggested. I do not care if you think abortion is a sin or the killing of a baby. Come and raise the baby, or give us money to raise the baby, or hire us a live-in maid to tend to my girlfriend's every need while she is pregnant. If you are so sanctimonious, talk the talk, then walk the walk. My girlfriend was absolutely clear that she wanted to raise the baby, probably influenced by her mom. Thanks to all the people who told me I did the right thing. It was really difficult, but I am very glad things turned out the way they have. To the people who messaged me, calling me a monster, I do not see what my hobbies have to do with this issue. Update 2. I was hoping to post here again after the abortion, still scheduled for 2 weeks' time, but I thought I should provide an update on some recent events with the mother, straight from the pits of hell. On Saturday, I opened my door and stood face to face with 2 police officers. My heart immediately sank. They asked me if I was who I was, and I replied that I was. I could not help but feel a surge of anxiety, wondering what this was about. They then said they were looking for my girlfriend. I called her over, my voice shaking a bit, and she appeared, looking confused and scared. The police officer said that he needed to have a word with her. My girlfriend's face went pale, and I could see the fear in her eyes. I tried to stay calm for her sake, but I could feel my own worry rising. The officers then split up. One took my girlfriend to the living room, while the other took me into my bedroom. The officer who took me started asking me questions about how long my girlfriend had been here, if she had had any contact with anyone else, and if she had left the house at all. His questions seemed endless, each one more invasive than the last. I answered them all, trying to stay composed despite my growing frustration. I could sense the suspicion in his tone, and it made me uneasy. After answering a few more questions, I finally asked what this was all about. The officer just said they received a report to check on my girlfriend. My heart raced as I wondered who could have made such a report and why. When I pressed further and asked who reported it, the officer said he could not say. His response left me feeling even more anxious and confused. It felt like we were being scrutinized for something we had no control over. After a while, the other officer was done, and they both left. The moment the door closed behind them, my girlfriend burst into tears. She told me that they had outright asked if she was in danger and if I had been hurting her. The officers even asked if she was being held against her will. She said no to everything, of course, but the questions had shaken her. She felt violated and scared. Then she revealed that the police had received a call from her mother, claiming she might be in danger and that I could be abusive to her. The accusation hit me like a punch to the gut. I could not believe her own mother would go that far. It felt like a betrayal, and the fact that she would try to use the police to drive a wedge between us made me furious. My girlfriend was devastated, caught between her loyalty to her mother and the reality of our situation. I was furious. The moment she told me what her mother had done, rage boiled up inside me. I could not believe the nerve of her mother, accusing me of something so vile and trying to use the police to interfere in our lives. I immediately said I was going to press charges against her, for what, I did not know exactly, harassment probably, anything to hold her accountable for this madness. I could not just stand by and let her get away with trying to destroy us like this. My girlfriend looked at me with wide, tear-filled eyes, clearly torn between wanting to protect her mother and understanding my anger. The betrayal stung deeply, and I needed to do something, anything to fight back against the injustice of it all. My girlfriend begged me not to do it and said that it would all just blow over and that her mother just needed time to calm down. But what if she sent the police to my house to get me arrested? How is that sane thinking? I could not wrap my head around it. The sheer audacity of it all left me reeling. I could lose my job if I was arrested and charged, my career, my livelihood, everything I had worked so hard for could be shattered because of her unfounded accusations. What the hell is she thinking? It felt like she was trying to ruin my life and our relationship all in one fell swoop. The implications were terrifying, and the fact that someone so close to my girlfriend could be so reckless and malicious was beyond comprehension. The weight of it all pressed down on me, and I felt like I was teetering on the edge of a precipice. I told my girlfriend that if her mother does anything like this again, I will definitely press charges. So, my girlfriend decided on Sunday to talk to her mom to tell her not to do anything like this again. They had a conversation for about 2 minutes, then I started hearing sobs immediately. I walked into the room and saw my girlfriend crying, still holding the phone against her ear. I took the phone from her hand and held her for a bit as I heard a hello from the phone. Then I put it to my ear and said, "You are a disgrace of a mother," and hung up. Then I held my girlfriend for what felt like an hour before we started talking. Apparently, her mother was telling my girlfriend that if she went through with the abortion, she would never see her mother, her brother, or her deceased father, who is in heaven, even though he died as a violent alcoholic who beat my girlfriend. But if my girlfriend went through with the abortion, she would be going to damnation. I told my girlfriend that if she was going to hell, then she should save me a seat and we would be nice and warm together. I love her smile. What do you think? Is there anything I should do about the mother? I have no doubt my words to her will have some reaction. Update 3. I just wanted to update everyone on this whole situation. This will be my final update. A few days ago, the abortion was carried out. During the weeks beforehand, my girlfriend went to a counselor and talked to a nurse about why she wanted an abortion. She was also tested for any sexually transmitted infections, she is clear. She went ahead with the abortion after getting the all clear a few days ago. It was successfully carried out. They opted for the surgical abortion method, which involves using a vacuum to remove the pregnancy. My girlfriend said it was pretty painless, and she was able to return home after just a few hours. When she got home, she cried and cried and cried. The floodgates opened and all the pain and relief came pouring out at once. I held her tightly, feeling the weight of her emotions in every sob that shook her body. She said she felt like a huge weight had been lifted, and for the first time in months, I saw a glimmer of hope in her eyes. She can finally start moving on with her life. The burden of the unwanted pregnancy, the constant reminder of the assault, was finally gone. She told me how she felt like she could breathe again, how the shadows of that terrible night were starting to recede. It was the first step toward healing, and even though we knew there was a long road ahead, this moment felt like a turning point. We took the whole week off work, needing some time to ourselves to process everything and just be together. Yesterday, we went camping. It rained, of course, because that is just our luck. But even the rain could not dampen our spirits. We huddled together in the tent, listening to the sound of raindrops pattering against the fabric. It felt cozy and safe, a stark contrast to the chaos of the past few months. While in the tent, she talked about how difficult life was sometimes. She opened up about her struggles, the pain, and the moments when she felt like she could not go on. But she also talked about how she was really glad things turned out the way they did. Despite everything, she felt a sense of relief and newfound strength. She said that even though things were bad, she came out the other side, probably stronger than before. Her resilience amazed me, and I could not help but feel hopeful for the future. We knew there would still be challenges ahead, but in that moment, huddled together in our little tent, it felt like we could face anything as long as we were together. She is amazing, seriously. Update on the mother. My girlfriend received a call from her mother, who was asking if she had gone through with the abortion. My girlfriend and I have an agreement that if her mother calls, we either hang up or she hands the phone to me. We decided on this to protect her from any further emotional manipulation. In this instance, she answered the call out of habit and did not know what to say. The moment she heard her mother's voice, she froze. She looked at me with wide eyes, panic written all over her face, and handed me the phone without saying a word. I took the phone and braced myself. Her mother immediately launched into a tirade, demanding to know if the abortion had been carried out. I told her that the abortion went perfectly. As soon as I said those words, she unleashed a stream of curses at me, her voice dripping with venom. I listened for about a minute, letting her get it all out, a slight smile playing on my lips at the absurdity of it all. When she finally paused for breath, I calmly said, "How Christian of you," and hung up. My girlfriend did not find it funny, but I did. That is it. The silence that followed was heavy, but it felt like a small victory. My girlfriend gave me a grateful look, relief washing over her face. We knew her mother would not take the news well, but standing up to her felt like reclaiming a bit of our own power. Good luck to everyone in their lives. Also, if you are going to message me insults, just be warned that I have already killed a baby before.